being able to be there for somebody, being able to have sisters who are going to look up to you is kind of like a weird like thing for me. But I think being able to be that person for somebody has made joining Greek life all that I could have asked for.
Bold ideas, inspiring stories, dynamic experiences. I'm your host, Dr. John Anderson, president of PennWest. Welcome to the Power of PennWest podcast. Welcome back to the Power of PennWest podcast. Today, tradition meets impact as we spotlight student leaders refining what fraternity and sorority life looks like at PennWest. Through service, philanthropy, and authentic leadership, they're building community and character that last far beyond college. Today, we'll meet 4 students whose passion, purpose, and commitment are transforming Greek life into a force for good on every campus they call home. Their journeys remind us how student leadership can elevate an entire community. So welcome to our 4 guests, and let's meet each of you. Let's begin with Brandon Hebda. Brandon, I'm going to read a brief intro for each of you, and you let me know if I get it right or if I've missed out anything that's really important, okay?
Got it.
All right, Brandon is a communication major from Uniontown, Pennsylvania, with minors in event planning and management and general business. A vibrant campus leader, he serves as a Greek life student coordinator, PennWest Pantry Student Ambassador, NSO leader, and welcome weekend leader. Deeply rooted in Greek life, Brandon champions community service and meaningful student engagement. Brandon, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Next, Kendal Mumaw is a senior at PennWest Edinboro, pursuing dual certification in 712 social studies and PK12 special education. Originally from Monaca, Pennsylvania, she has led within Zeta Tau Alpha and the Edinboro Panhellenic Council. Now student teaching and active in student PSEA, Kendal is dedicated to inclusion, student-centered education, and cherishes her impactful Greek life experience. Kendal, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Next, Zion Baxter is a junior at PennWest, California, and a proud member of Sigma Tau Gamma. He serves as vice president on the IFC executive board, helping support and strengthen fraternity community driven by connection and leadership. Zion is passionate about creating a positive, engaging Greek life experience for all students. Zion, thank you for joining us as well.
Thank you, President Anderson.
And finally, Avery Soltis is a junior exercise science major from McEwensville, Pennsylvania, focusing on nutrition and fitness with plans to become a physical therapist. On campus, she shines as the feature twirler for the Golden Eagle Marching Band and leads through Panhellenic Council, Zeta Tau Alpha, Tau Beta Sigma, and President's Leadership Academy and the Honors Program. Avery, thank you so much for being here.
And thank you for having me.
So let's begin by talking a little bit about Greek life. What is Greek life? And let's hear from each of you about how you got involved in this part of campus. Brandon, why don't you start it and tell us a little bit about what Greek life is?
Greek life is essentially a community of our fellow peers and students, especially here at PennWest. It's a very positive community, kind of centered on helping one another and growing it for future generations of students. I know I got involved through kind of trying to find my place here on campus, especially with a lot of numbers of groups and organizations.
Excellent. Thanks, Brandon. Avery, let's go to you next. I see behind you a banner, Zeta Tau Alpha banner. How fitting for our conversation today?
Yes, for me, Greek life means a lot. It's just basically like a small community of us that like get along and we get to hang out like whenever we want and have similar interests and also like have that same idea of like philanthropy and service and supporting our community. And how I got involved was actually through like a mutual friend. She was just like, hey, you should come to this event. And I ended up coming and ended up joining. And I think it was one of the best decisions I've made because I love it so much. And I don't know where I'd be without all of my fellow Greek life people.
Excellent. Thanks, Avery. Kendal, what additions do you have to a definition of Greek life and how you got involved?
Yeah, I agree with what the other two said. I think it's a community of kind of like-minded people who want to give back to the communities that we live in. And I think the philanthropies are what really got me wanting to join something like Greek life. I had a couple friends who were like come to our fundraisers, and that's what really got me into it. I joined a little differently than a lot of people. I joined it my junior year, so I wanted to start giving back to Edinboro and the community that I had lived in for 2 years.
Excellent. Thank you. And I want to make sure in this conversation we talk a lot about this idea of philanthropy, because there comes a time for all students when they've been receiving a lot. They're working hard, learning a lot, and they have a desire to give back. And sororities and fraternities are a fantastic place to do that because a natural community and a natural purpose and natural connection. So I want to come back to that and have you each talk a little bit about how you do philanthropic work. But Zion, let's hear your story. How did you get involved in Greek life, and how would you define Greek life?
Well, I got into Greek life because whenever I transferred from PennWest, California, I didn't realize, like, right off the bat, how many community outreach things that we do get to do. Growing up, I did a lot of community outreach just, through youth groups and church activities. And so, then coming, here and rushing a fraternity, I then quickly realized that there's a lot of great things and great opportunities that I get to do. Big event is a really awesome one that we get to do here at our school, helping our local community families and the other just organizations, even within the town, and just seeing how great of a brotherhood, we can have, as well as just being a community within Greek life, since we're not so big, since there aren't a lot of us, seeing how the fraternities and sororities interact with each other, week to week. It's really great, and I'm really appreciative, for the opportunity that I've had.
Excellent. Thank you. So let's now go back to the time before you joined. We'll have a few thousand freshmen show up on campus in the fall that are here eager to figure out what campus life is about. Talk to me about the process of a rush or what that looks like. What does it look like to a freshman coming into the new experience about learning about fraternities and sororities and what possibilities might exist? Kendall, talk us through that process.
Yeah, so the process at Edinboro has changed in the last year. I was Panhellenic president, so I kind of oversaw that. So if you're like a freshman coming in the fall, you would basically attend different kind of meetings or events that each sorority would have. We have two sororities, so one you would go to one Zeta Tau Alpha event, one Alpha Sigma Alpha event, and then you have to go to one of each, and then you can decide from there if you want to join, but they also have to decide if they would want you to join their sorority as well. In the past, it's been more of a formal process, just with the amount of girls we have interested. We kind of made that less formal, so it's a little less scary kind of coming in, a lot more fun, a lot more sisterhood oriented than what it could have seemed like in the past. So it would be very kind of informal and more of a hangout session.
Excellent. Thank you. Zion, tell us how that process works on the Cal campus.
Yeah, it's very informal and a lot more relaxed here for the fraternities on campus. Each fraternity during Rush, we come out with a Rush schedule with events for each of our organizations for people to come to. We host events on campus as well as off campus. I know, for example, my fraternity during our Rush schedule, we decided to go bowling. So, we went to a nearby bowling alley, and it was just a great time, getting to meet new people while also just, bonding as a brotherhood, and getting to know each other. And so just really the biggest thing that I would suggest is for any, new freshmen wanting to get to know more about Greek life, make your rounds, get to go to all the fraternities, go to their Rush events, but truly just try to get to know the brothers and each person individually. And that's really all there is to it. I mean, if you got a good head on your shoulders and, you look like you might be good for the campus and the community, there's no reason why a fraternity would not extend you a bit.
Thank you very much, Zion. Avery, walk us through that experience on the Clarion campus. What does a freshman anticipate happening?
So over like the past couple of years, it's definitely become less formal. It's a lot more informal than what it used to be. But basically, you just get to go to any sorority event that you want to go to. You're not required to go to all of them. And Panhell also has like their own events with all of the sororities, which we call Meet the Greeks. So you have a chance to like meet every sorority at the same time, which we highly encourage every freshman to go to, just so you have that chance to meet every sorority because we want you to find the best home for you. And then our sororities also hold like their own separate events that you can go to. You can decide whether you want to go to or not, but we also highly encourage going to those as well. And this type of style is called continuous open bidding. So this happens all throughout the semester. Like it's never too late. You can always go to events. They're held throughout the whole semester. And if you think it's too late because we already had like bid day and rush, like it's never too late. You can always join a sorority, whatever point in time the semester is.
Excellent. Thanks, Avery. So one of the benefits of being a member of a sorority or a fraternity is the lifelong connections that happen. I get the chance to meet with a lot of our alums, and some of them graduated from one of our campuses in the 60s and 70s, and they're still connected to fraternity and sorority members they worked with when they were here, and they've been close people to work with throughout their careers. Have you all had the chance to meet with some of the former people who have been in the fraternities and sororities and make those connections? I'd love to hear about some of those examples. Kendall, you were nodding your head. Give us an example of someone you've met.
So actually, my grandma went to Edinboro back in the 60s, and she was a founding member of Zeta Tau Alpha here. So having that connection to myself, where my grandma still talks to her sorority sisters from back then, still talks about all the service that they did and the events that they had. That means a lot to me knowing that my grandmother was one. But again, I've met so many girls who have graduated in the past 10 years, the last 20 years. This summer they had a celebration for 100 years of Greek life at Edinboro, and they invited a couple of the collegiates. So me and a couple other sisters went, and just meeting all the girls who are still best friends, who still talk every year. It meant a lot to see what my future could look like.
That's excellent, Kendall. That's got to be a lot of fun to know you're kind of walking in the same experience as your grandmother from many years ago.
Oh, for
Brandon,
sure.
how about yourself, Brandon? Have you met some alums?
Yeah, my fraternity in particular, we do a golf outing each spring, kind of catering to the alumni and people who came before us. And it's a really cool experience getting able to meet people and talk with them and kind of compare our experiences. And then like we talk about the chapter house and like events that they started that we're continuing on forward. And then it kind of ties all back in whenever we meet them later on down the road and they're telling us about their career aspirations and we're sharing with them what we're going through. And then they're able to lend us kind of a helping hand in that sense.
That's great. It seems like fraternities and sororities give you not only a smooth way to get through the university experience, lots of connections here, but they really prepare you for what's next.
Yeah,
Zion,
for
have you had
sure.
similar experiences when you've met with alums?
Yeah, so we actually have one of our alumni who runs a Greek shop within the town of California, and so it's really cool seeing how his time in the fraternity and just in college in general, then led him to even still be within the Greek community, having all the Greek organizations, go to his store, in town and purchase letters and, purchase merchandise, with all of the Greek organizations in it. So it's really cool just to see how he went from one thing to now another, just in his lifetime.
That's great. And Avery, what about you?
This year actually was a really like good year for us to connect with our alumni because our homecoming football game was actually our pink out game too. So we had a lot of alumni coming and we also had like our table set up to promote our philanthropy. So a lot of the former Zetas stopped by and like just we got to chat about the past and like how things have changed. And another great example would be my majorette coach here at Clarion was also a Zeta. So we get to talk all the time, like constantly about our experiences. And it's so much fun that we have like so many similarities and we get to talk about those. And also, even like online, we have our Facebook, which is like our alumni page, and we get to outreach to them a lot and talk to them. And it's just so cool to see everybody's different stories in the comments and everything.
That's great. So let's go back now to this idea of philanthropic giving and community service. I fundamentally believe that most human beings want to do something beyond themselves to benefit somebody else. And one of the big challenges they have is it's hard to find an organized way to do that, where your efforts or your resources are going to impact somebody else in a significant way. So let's talk about the role of philanthropic giving, community service in these sororities and fraternities, and hear a few examples about projects you may have been involved in or ways you've raised money for some philanthropic cause. Brandon, let's start with you.
It's cool with our university being in Cal because we're able to host a lot of events for the community that we're able to see right away its impact. And an example of that is we do a toy drive. We call it Acacia Claus. And every year we go out and we try and raise as much money as we can for toys for the community. And then we donate them into the police station. And we're able to see like the police and they go out and they distribute the toys and it's cool to see your impact firsthand.
Thanks, Brandon. Zion, let's hear your experience with philanthropic giving or community service.
Yeah, so every year we go downtown as an organization and we do the polar plunge. So our national, philanthropy is Special Olympics. So we send people, we get people to donate for jumpers. So we'll go downtown and we'll do the polar plunge. We'll jump in the water. One of our sister sororities here on campus, Alpha Sigma Alpha, that's also their national philanthropy as well. And so we get to just, hang out with each other, spend time down in the city, and just, pretty much do what we're supposed to do. Just kind of donate to a good cause and, be cold while doing it. So it's a nice experience.
So did you jump in this year?
This year, actually, we're jumping on the 28th. It will be my second year jumping. Yeah. So I did it last year, and there's a video of me jumping into the water. And I kid you not, I pushed my fraternity brother out of the way so I could get to the ladder and get out of the water as quickly and as fast as possible.
That's great.
Wasted no time.
Kendall, give us some of your examples.
Yeah, so one of the big things we do is in Zeta Tau Alpha is we have the pink out football game, like Avery mentioned. So kind of the whole month of October, we're getting ready for it, and we'll pick one, and we'll sell chocolate bars, we'll sell t-shirts, we'll pass out our pink ribbons. So that's one of our big ones that we do in the fall. In the spring, we'll do it's called Big Man on Campus. So it's basically a male beauty pageant. And there's like a bunch of different events that they have to partake in, and it's a lot of fun. A big one we do just throughout the year is candy bar sales. So we'll table in the library on campus and sell candy bars. We do a couple different ones each year just to keep things new and exciting as well.
Great. And Avery, what are your philanthropic efforts?
Definitely very similar to Kendall's because I'm also part of Zeta Tau Alpha and our philanthropy is breast cancer education and awareness. So our main fundraiser and awareness month is obviously October because that's like the month for that. And we usually pick a week in the month of October and we call it Pink Week. And we have an event each day to either raise awareness or raise money for that. So this past year we had a dodgeball tournament. We did bingo with UAB. We partnered with them. That was really fun. And then we always at the end of the week we have our pink out football game, which is really fun because not only do we get to raise money, but we just get to raise that awareness. Like Kendall said, we pass out our ribbons too during that football game. And we also plan on bringing back Big Man on Campus this year, which I'm very excited for. And then during the whole semester, it's called Pi Zeta. We usually have a few of those a semester. People just get to pie us in the face for $1. So it's like a really fun fundraiser and it's funny and we have a good time.
That's great. Well, it's clear that each of you have learned a lot from your Greek life experience and your significant leaders on campus. Let's take a minute and get to know each of you a little bit better in terms of where you think you'll be 5 to 10 years from now. How are you going to take these lessons you've learned, these experiences you've had, finish your university experience, and then where are you going to go? What are you going to do? So if we were talking 5 or 10 years from now, where are you going to be? Kendall, let's go to you next. Where are you in 5 years?
I plan on going home right after graduation to start looking for jobs. So I hope I'm in a good school district with a class I like. Other than that, I'm not too sure either. I hope everything works out. But I hope to take the leadership skills that I've learned from Greek life and implement those in a classroom, I plan on teaching secondary ed, so young adults. So I worked with sorority girls for 2 years now. I think I can utilize a lot of that in the classroom.
Avery, what about you? What does the future look like?
Well, I'd say I'd probably just be getting out of school a year before in 5 years, because I still have 3 years of grad school and one more year of my undergrad. So lots of schooling left, but hopefully getting ready to get in a stable job, maybe even potentially working with my sister-in-law because she's also a physical therapist. So having that connection with her and hopefully teaching baton still as well and using my leadership skills that I've learned in not only Greek life, but everything else I'm involved in to use that with my teaching skills as well.
That's great. Zion, what does your future look like?
Well, hopefully, within 5 years from now, I'm established, in a job. My degree is marketing, so I'm a marketing major, and so hopefully, I'm using the tools that I've learned from my time in Greek life, such as teamwork, for example. Just if there's a project that I'm having to work on, for my job, I can use my teamwork skills, even my leadership skills that I've learned as well, to help complete what it is that needs done. And who knows what the rest of that time might look like, from 5 to 10. But the goal is at least making it to five and just being as successful as possible early on.
Excellent. And Brandon, let's finish with you. What do your next 5 years look like?
Yeah, with communications, there's so many options, so many ways I could go with it. But being in Greek life, my original major when I came to campus was teaching. But through Greek life, those were my first times planning events like golf outings and really discovering what I wanted to do communications wise. So I'm hoping in 5 years I'll be able to utilize those skills to whatever my job is.
Excellent. Well, it'll be so fun to see what your futures look like. As we prepare to wrap this up, have each of you respond to one more question. And that is, for those who may be freshmen, who may be starting out, who may have heard something about Greek life, something about leadership opportunities on campus, it may be worth them hearing the best moments you've had. So in your sorority, in your fraternity, when you're meeting with people, working around, is there a time over the last year or two, three you've been involved when you look back and say, this event or this experience was worth all the extra effort to be involved outside of myself and outside of my own schoolwork, to put time into an organization that exists on campus? Share with us that time when you finished an activity or had a connection and you just look back and thought, this was really worth it. Avery, let's start with you. Do you have an experience like that?
I feel like one of the best experiences I've had is just being able to be a person that someone can like approach you about anything and be able to open up to you about anything, being a leader. And I feel like that's just like such a good feeling for somebody to be able to come up to you and like be able to talk to you about literally anything and be that person for somebody in a leadership role. And it's like very important for like people to think about that because you don't realize how important that makes you feel and like makes them feel as well being able to be that person.
Excellent. Thanks, Avery. Brandon, how about you?
I'd say just being able to be very active on campus in the way I am. I get to do a lot of things that I probably wouldn't have been able to do without my time on Greek life, whether it's going and sitting in on different meetings, helping plan with different projects, just being able to fully be very active on campus.
That's great. Zion, do you have a moment that was particularly memorable for you?
Yeah, I think like one of my favorite things Greek life is the events that we get to do as a Greek life family. For us here at the California campus, actually coming up very soon, we have Greek Week as well as Greek Sing, and seeing all of the organizations come together. For example, Greek Sing, pairing up with a sorority on campus and putting on a performance for the entire campus to see, the families to see, is really, really exciting. It's really fun. It's a good time. You get to bond with the sororities, you get to bond with your brothers, and it's a lot of fun. And then, carrying into Greek Week, competing, I think a lot of us have a natural competitive nature to all of us. And so being able to compete, and go head to head, and then, at the end of it, there's a winner. It gives your organization something to work towards. It shows those teamwork skills. It shows, maybe for some of you, you have the ability to be a leader within those events. So it's a great time. There's a lot of perks that come with joining Greek life.
Excellent. And Kendall?
Yeah, I kind of feel like I have two answers, but like a thing that happened and then like a feeling I would say. So last semester I was Panhellenic president, and if you're that, you have to disaffiliate. So you have to basically leave your sorority for 2 weeks. And that was one of the hardest things I did, not being able to have pictures up of my friends or necessarily be seen with some of my closest friends. But after those 2 weeks, you get to run home back to your sorority. And that was probably one of my top two moments in joining Greek life, just being able to kind of come back and be like, these are my people, these are my family at that point. So that was one of my favorite moments. And then I agree with what Avery said, just being able to be there for somebody, being able to have sisters who are going to look up to you is kind of like a weird like thing for me. But I think being able to be that person for somebody has made joining Greek life all that I could have asked for.
Excellent. Well, this has been such a fun conversation. I want to thank each of you for being students here at PennWest, but also going outside yourself and engaging in activities, sororities and fraternities that can really be a benefit to so many people. So thank you for sharing your experience today, and I really appreciate you joining the Power of PennWest podcast.
Of course, thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thanks.
Yes, thank you.